We're going to explore the new panel mapping tool in MPanel Shade Designer. After entering the cell dimensions, we calculate the model and then go to the Seams tab. For panel mapping to work, we leave the number of panels at 1, so we will have a sail pattern that is a single piece of fabric. We calculate the panels, and then we go to the panel mapping tab, and we see the single sail pattern with a series of cyan lines. These represent the fabric width for the selected fabric, less any seam allowances that have been entered. So if we go back to the Materials tab, we can see we've got a 3 meter wide fabric and a 25 millimeter seam, which is added to each side of the panel. We also see a series of red rectangles which represent the fabric strips arranged to form a flat sheet of fabric which the sail can be cut out from. Inside the first leftmost strip we see text which tells us the length and width of the fabric strip. In subsequent panels we also see an offset value, which is the distance up or down from the top of the previous panel, going from left to right. So in this example we're told to join the second fabric strip 455 millimeters down from here, and the third strip a further 427 millimeters down from here. The last strip, 272 millimeters, is up from the third strip. Let's understand what each of the menu controls do. The first is Move Roll Lines, which is self-explanatory, and we'll see this in operation in a moment. The border size is the amount of extra fabric we want to allow above and below the pattern, as well as on the left side of the left strip and the right side of the right strip. Let's make this 50 millimeters, around 2 inches. Immediately we can see the lengths and widths of the fabric strips change. The left strip is now 1550 wide, before it was 1500, and the second strip is now 6660 long, before it was 6557. This provides a nice buffer around the edges of the pattern to ensure we can safely cut it out from the flat sheet. Offset rounding deals with the offset values. Here in strip 2 we have an offset rounding of 452. Now 2 millimeters is a very small number to measure. Let's set it to round up to 10, and we can see the value changes immediately to 450, which is a much easier number to measure. Offset minimum sets a value at which it's not really worth cutting different length strips of fabric and measuring different joining points. For example, if they were only 20 millimeters or an inch different, it's easier to join the two strips from the same start point. To demonstrate this, I'll change the minimum to be 300 millimeters, which is bigger than the strip number 4 offset. We can see all 3 strips are now starting from the same level, making it much easier to join the panels together, even if they are at different lengths. Let's set this back to 0 so you can clearly see the power of this new feature when I start to move the roll lines. You can see the lengths, widths and offsets all change dynamically, and I can slowly arrive at a more efficient fabric map which requires only 3 strips of fabric and a small offcut in the corner. Finally, when we go to the production reports and select the panel mapping report, we get everything we need to send to production. This table lists the fabric strips, boxes, the width and length, and the offset values. Over here we have a table which identifies the distance in and up from the bottom left and bottom right corners of the fabric panel. These are your start points for marking out the sail pattern on the flat fabric panel. Note the message here to make it clear that making sails from flat sheets with straight seams won't produce as good a sail shape result as joining shaped fabric strips together, which is the preferred method. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or requests for any additional videos, please contact support@MPanel.com.